Good evening and happy Monday. I'm looking at all of your beautiful faces and I'm just so glad that you're here. And happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I feel like I've been running around all day today, and I'm just like, I enjoy Mondays when they are productive because at least I feel like I am recuperating from resting all weekend. So I hope you guys had a restful weekend and a productive day today. I'm excited that you're here tonight. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. And first, let's head over to Jess, and she's going to do some shout outs for us because we've had so many great things going on.
My hairband just broke, so excuse the enormous poop going on here. Just gonna tuck that back there. Anyway, welcome everyone, and I just wanted to congratulate some people and do some shout outs here. So we just finished our 7-day trial this month, and we normally have a 7-day slim trial at the third week of every month, and so I wanted to congratulate the people that added prospects to our trial this month. This is a great tool that we can use. It's not something you have to use every month, but just know that that is available to you. It's a great way to get people plugged in that maybe are kind of like sitting on the fence and not ready to full on jump in. But it gets them not only a way to taste the pink drink, but they kind of feel the momentum and the excitement as they join a part of that group, because there's a lot of people in there normally, and they get educated on kind of what Plexus is, what the products can do, and like they're introduced to a lot more than just the pink drink. So it's normally a very successful thing. So the people I want to give a shout out to for adding people to that group this month are Sally Lewis, Lori Hillman, Amanda Jennings, Beth Bartlett, Alexis Krudzma. Is that right, Lexi? Sorry. Sarah Smith, Erica Higgs, Amanda Poe, Mary, Catherine O'Neill, Jessie Duke, Kimberly Brest, Cheyenne McFadden, Holly Fields, Josie Kennedy, and Adrian Worley. So yay. Oh, and I wanted to tell y'all too, I don't know if y'all got the email that today they came out with new MetaBurn and Slim trial packs. So that is really exciting, and we can start to use those in April. Back to you, Sally.
Yes, that is so awesome. I'm so excited. I know they have been talking about adding in those Slim and MetaBurn for a while since that product came out. And so I'm really stoked that that is happening already and that those will be available to us to use. Kim Cheryl is going to go over what's going on this week, just so you can kind of put it in your planner. I know it's Monday. I always was like, I opened my planner this morning, I was like, oh, it's all blank. Let's figure out what's happening. Just so you can make sure you and your team, any of your teammates or friends can be a part of what's going on the team this week.
Yes, there is just a couple of things, but they are, I think, really good things and important things. On Thursday, there's 2 items. So after you guys get your kids in bed, there's a few things you're going to want to look at. At 9, we're going to have our Power Half Hour. So if you guys have that Dough app, get that business done. And it's a great time to just connect with other people on our team and ask questions and troubleshoot if you are like, how do I answer this? Or what do you guys say? It's just a really great time to connect and do this together, so we don't have to always be just in our own little world, in our own corner in our house, working our business. It's fun to do together. So 9 to 9:30 Eastern on Thursday is that. And then at 9:30, there is this really great, it's a Zoom, I believe, happening. It is a Zoom. And yeah, it's going to be lots of really successful moms in our company that just are sharing how they do this and what they've done to be successful. So if you are thinking of going anywhere with this, or you just want to keep going, you're doing great and want to keep pushing forward, this is going to be one to hop on, because it is going to be just full of great resources of people who have been through a lot of things. A lot of them have a lot of kids, or they're homeschooling, or both, or, like different stages of life. Just great people to glean from. So definitely check that out. That'll be at 9:30 on Thursday night. And then our end of the month, which 31st is Sunday. So Sunday night, we're going to be having our pajama party at 9, just end of the month wrap up, and, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and hanging out. So definitely jump in for that as well.
Yes, and we have so many new.
Oh,
yep, go ahead.
I almost forgot. This is probably the biggest thing for the week. Those are like the little things. But this is our last week to earn our iPads. And maybe you're in the running for your iPad. Maybe you're like, man, that is a long way off. But this week you can do it all, because we are finishing our 7-day trial. And a lot of us did those online events this month, and people have been thinking about things. So follow-up is going to be huge this week with these things. So make sure you are reaching out and following up and closing the deal. Sally had a really great post. I think it was today or yesterday. I can't remember which, just about ways different people seal the deal, and they give their tips in different videos. So check those out if you are like, how do I even do this? But yeah, this week, follow up like crazy, and close those deals.
Yes, we use all of our free codes. And if you run out of free codes, we have more that we can find once you are not using them. So absolutely. You guys, I am excited to now talk to you about something I heard on a podcast today. I was like, what am I going to talk about tonight? And then all of a sudden, I heard this magical podcast, and I shared it on our podcast. We have a post now that has all of our podcasts. We're going to try and be growing personally together, because that really is the secret to being successful in anything, in business, in life, is that we have to have our mind right, our heart right, and be growing personally and professionally. And so as I am doing that, I want you to be doing that along with me. So today I listened to, it was actually Bob Heilig's podcast, which is called Your Virtual Upline. If you want to search that on the podcast app or anywhere that has podcasts. And his guest, Bob Heilig's going to be the one that's at convention speaking. He's phenomenal. His guest was actually Preston Pugmire, who is the life coach to the likes of Jessica Heffley and Christy Jex, who we've listened to some stuff before. I've posted some of his podcasts as well. He is great. He's done a lot of change for Jessica in her regular life, but also in her business. So super helpful guy. But this was episode 101 of Your Virtual Uplines podcast, and it was called How to Avoid a Victim Mentality in Your Business. So the entire podcast is awesome, but I'm just going to talk to you about a little chunk that I thought was super interesting, and it was about our brains. Preston said, your brain will always answer a question you ask, or at least try to. Whether you're asked a question or if you're asking yourself like rhetorical questions, your brain does not think in rhetorical questions. Your brain thinks in answers. And so if you're like, let's just say, what color are your eyes? Immediately you think of the answer, right? But if I said, what color are my eyes? Immediately you're like, I don't know, I can't see them. Or you're looking to try and figure it out, right? Like our brain is going to seek out any answer to a question that we have in our mind. So how does this relate to actual mindset in our business? And so what about, instead of eye color, what if we asked, why can't I get anyone to join me? What if we asked, why haven't I signed anyone this month? Do you think that's a bad question to ask your brain, or a good one? Because here's the thing, the way we ask those questions and the type of question and the implication that they have, our brain's going to seek out the answers that we think that we know about that question. So an answer to that type of question, our brain's going to search for something that's more negative. It's going to search for something that probably brings us guilt or shame, right? Maybe regret or discourage us in some way. Why doesn't anyone want to join me? What's wrong with me? Do you know, like that's that kind of question that we ask ourselves. And sometimes we don't realize that we're asking those questions, but they're just in there, right? So instead, what are good questions we can ask our brain? Questions that would bring about creativity or moving forward or growth. How can I sign someone in the next 7 days? I haven't signed anybody yet. How can I sign someone in the next 7 days? Well, then your brain is looking for like, okay, well, I can post, I can do this. And like your brain is then looking for answers to that. And those answers would be constructive for you reaching a goal, rather than when I get discouraged, what do? I shut down. Does anyone else do that? When you're super discouraged, do you feel like going and raiding the refrigerator and sitting on the couch and turning on Netflix? That's exactly how I feel. So we have this thought process that happens in our brains, and we don't even realize we're like training ourselves to be discouraged and to like be hesitant and to be paralyzed instead of moving forward. And so what successful people do, they don't get this right off the bat. They work on their mindset. They work on their thought life, and they're growing consistently to capture those thoughts. What does the Bible tell us? Take captive your thoughts. Why? Because it makes you sit on the couch and watch Netflix and eat horrible Oreos. And like, instead of doing things that you want to do to become the person that you want to be and that God has for you. So other questions in that frame of mind, like what are other people doing that I can learn from so that I can earn my iPad before the month is over? You know, like that is a constructive, like, okay, so who can I ask? Like what video can I watch? How can I learn this? And then your brain's going to search for that. Maybe something was posted on the team page. Oh, maybe I can reach out to my upline. Oh, you know, who can I follow up with that I have talked to before so that I can get my ALA this month? Or so I can sign one person and use one of my codes, like whatever it is. Don't ask yourself, why can't anyone join me? Like, why doesn't anybody like, because in our brain, that is like, why don't people like me? Right? Like that is our self-conscious brain asking that question. So good questions versus bad questions. Your brain's going to answer all of them. So we have to learn how to frame our thoughts and frame these questions. So that is obviously in business in the last 7 days of this incentive and this special. Those are good questions. I could ask like, why doesn't our team want to jump on the calls when they're live? Oh, well, because we have lives and there are things happening. Or I can get into that negative mindset. What are ways that I could incentivize our teams to be excited about being a part of our community? Do you know what I mean? Like that is different mindset framing. Okay, life. Why is it so hard for my husband and I to talk to each other without arguing? How does that feel? Like not great? What is the answer to that going to be? Well, he's a jerk or I'm a jerk or whatever it is, right? This has nothing to do with Brandon, by the way. I was just trying to think of like life questions. Or you could say, man, what are some small things that I could do or that we could do that would help us communicate better? The answer to that is forward moving. Is anyone feeling some things like questions that you've asked yourself? Does this like ring a bell to anybody? Why is my house always a wreck? Because I'm lazy, because I don't want to get off the couch, because my kids are nuts, because of the wonderful things she does. Or I wonder how other people keep up with their laundry. Maybe I should look at Pinterest because there are a lot of great tips on there. So something that Jessica Heffley has been saying so often has been what you focus on expands. And I'm like, yes, like I try to focus on the positive things, but it's those subconscious thoughts and the subconscious ways that we are like training our brains to think about things that help us focus on the wrong things, right? When we've been saying a lot this month, if you tell yourself it's possible, it will be. And it's not because like we're like sending something into the universe to like make it so. It's because our mind dictates our actions. Our state of mind, our mental well-being dictates what we decide to go for. If we decide to reach out to people or if we decide to shut off and shut down because we're discouraged, that happens up here. That's not about training. That's not about coaching in our business. Most of us know what to do. We know ways to do things, or we know how to find that information, but it's this. It's our mindset that keeps us from either doing those things or not doing those things. When we're discouraged, we get paralyzed. But when we are creative and when we're asking the right questions, we get to work. We go after reaching those goals and stuff. So I just thought that was super cool. Like, our brain's going to answer us, so we have to make sure that we're asking the right questions. If you would like to do an exercise of that tonight, think through some of the things you've been thinking about as we're nearing the end of this month. Maybe you've met some goals. Maybe you're still working on some goals, or maybe you've been scared to even set goals because of some of the questions you're framing in your own mind about how you can accomplish them. And I encourage you to write them in the comments underneath the graphic for this page so that we can kind of learn to reframe our questions and reframe our mindsets together. And even just as maybe you're a journaler or you're a planner, if things like that come up, if you're like, find yourself in this like anxious or discouraging thought, like, figure out what those things are. What are you thinking on, so that you can pull that out and reframe that in a way that would bring you to an answer that would be constructive for you, rather than an answer that is going to keep you paralyzed or discouraged and not moving forward. I think this is going to be really helpful in my life because I'm a 6 on the Enneagram, so I question everything, and I need to make sure I'm asking the right questions. I'm going to now throw it over to Josie. Our product highlight tonight is ProBio 5, which is one of the main players in our triplex combo and one of my favorite products. So I'm excited to hear what she's got to say.
Yeah, and I can go on and on about it. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. Okay, because this is what was the hugest game changer for me whenever I first began Plexus. I had severe heartburn, reflux, and could not find the right probiotic, and now I know why. And what was fun about me doing the ProBio 5 tonight is I really got to read through it and get refamiliarize myself with it. So here's some cool stuff. First of all, I mean, we all know like probiotics, they balance out your system and they improve your immune system. And the one thing I wanted to say about the ProBio 5 to start out with is that it is gluten-free for anybody out there that is worried about that. It's designed to survive through our stomach and arrive in our gut. So many other probiotics that you take, that if you've ever taken any before this, so many of them die off in your stomach even before it arrives at the gut, which is why that they're so inactive. I mean, that's why they never really produce the results that you're looking for. You'll see a lot of other probiotics will say, hey, we got 14 billion CFUs, that's colony, I think it's colony forming units. The other probiotics will have 14, 50, 85 billion, this and that. And the reason is because they're really not arriving where they're supposed to be. ProBio 5, they have 2 billion. And the reason why they have 2 billion is they're arriving where they're supposed to be, and they're amazing whenever they arrive there. So here's the thing. A lot of us have candida overgrowth. I mean, I think it's upwards of like 70% of us have candida overgrowth. And the candida cell has this hard outer coating, and it's called chitin, and it's actually the same exoskeleton that's on a cockroach. So you can imagine like how hard that is to break down. So one of the enzymes in the ProBio 5 is called chitosanase. I hope I'm saying that right. We always butcher this word. But what that does, it breaks down the hard outer shell of the candida cell so that it can get killed off. That's the number one thing why nobody ever has any good results, is because the candida overgrowth is so hard to get rid of. And what happens with candida also is it lines the inside of your intestines, so it prevents you from even having like good absorption of nutrients. So this is the beautiful, beautiful thing about the ProBio 5. So I want to make sure I don't miss anything here. And the next thing that it has is serrapeptase. Okay, that's another one of the enzymes. And what that does is, this is really neat. It breaks down the biofilm that forms over bad bacteria. So people who have bacterial infections and they're trying to take antibiotics, which, I mean, antibiotics are important, but they also kill off the good gut bacteria. But the serrapeptase can break down that biofilm around the bad bacteria so that you can finally get rid of it and people can start feeling better. It also helps with, the serrapeptase also helps with inflammation. So any proteins that kind of leak through your gut, that kind of sometimes lands in your joints, it actually is able to get in there and get rid of those proteins. And that's why people a lot of times are saying, wow, I'm losing bloating and even inflammation, they start to feel better. So that's exciting. And then it also has protease. Protease breaks down the proteins that you ingest, such as meat and eggs and things like that. So when it breaks down those proteins, they become, hold on, amino acids. There we go. And they are the building blocks for all of our cells. So this is like so cool because, you know, we generally have new cell turnover every 90 days. And now when you have all of this going on, no wonder you're able to start to have better cell turnover, because now we're starting to go ahead and break everything down properly so that everything can be restored, all of our gut health. Another thing that the ProBio5 has is the grapeseed extract. That is awesome, you guys. It is a really, really good antioxidant. And here's just a few things that it does. Okay, it has, it can help reduce blood pressure and improve blood flow. It can also help, obviously, eliminate candida overgrowth. And in some studies, it shows to help with cancers and things like that. I mean, I'm not saying Plaxis cures anything, but really, these ingredients are phenomenal, phenomenal. So whenever you're improving your gut flora with this ProBio5, you're also improving your serotonin levels. Hello, happy. And your serotonin is also a building block of your melatonin, like deeper sleep. So that's why, you know, that's why you might not even notice, you know, feeling happier, sleeping deeper, and like that. So, and then one last thing is, in terms of dosage for the ProBio5, people take between 2 and 4, and we take it at bedtime, whenever our body is at rest, whenever it can be absorbed the best. So in a nutshell, you guys, I think that was it. I think we stayed within time too. So it's amazing. The best thing I've ever taken, that's for sure.
So good. This product, literally exactly what Josie said, changed so much for me. I used to have monthly yeast infections with my cycle. My mother-in-law literally had taken every probiotic known to man, like refrigerated ones, over-the-counter ones, chewable ones, like liquid ones. It didn't matter, because she's been on steroids her whole life for rheumatoid arthritis and stuff. And so thankfully, doctors did tell her she needed to be on probiotics, but never saw any help in her yeast issues, but for sure not an inflammation, which is the whole arthritis thing. You know what I mean? So like when she started ProBio5, it was like the yeast was just coming out of everywhere. Like it was dying from her whole body. And she's like, this is terrible, but this is so exciting because I have been taking probiotics forever and nothing has done this. And it's exactly what Josie was talking about. It's because of those antifungals and the digestive enzymes. Nobody else puts that stuff in. And so the good stuff has nowhere to go. We have to kill off the bad so that our guts can be replenished. So make sure your people know if they are on a probiotic and they're like, no, I'm good, I've got one. We're like, no, this is awesome. And if you need some good verbiage on how to explain that, obviously Josie did that super eloquently tonight. But we have posts on our Mover Shakers and Difference Makers team page that you could copy and paste if it's for a prospect and send to them, or you can tag them in some of that information. Just simply type ProBio5 at the top in the search bar and all of those posts will come up. It is a phenomenal product. And if you don't feel like you're getting the full benefits of it, definitely work with your upline so that you guys can troubleshoot and make sure that you're, you know, increasing your dosage enough to where your body can really get rid of a lot of that stuff that it doesn't need to be hanging on to. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your Monday night. It's one of my favorite nights of the week to be able to hang out with you guys, and I'm just so thankful for you for jumping on live. I will post the recording tonight, so make sure anyone on your team who even is new people don't know that we have team calls all the time, and so they may be interested in having this information, and it might encourage them to jump on so that they can learn with us as we go along. So good night, you guys. Thanks so much.